Let's have some fun. All right, y'all. Welcome to this week's AMA. What we're going to be doing this week is answering your questions. That's what the AMAs are all about. One of the things that we are going to be doing in the future, which I think will be fun, is having topic-based AMAs in addition to these general-based AMAs. The topic-based AMAs will be opportunities for you to ask questions about a specific subject. So, for example, if you have questions about branding, positioning, what presentations are being booked right now. We want you to know it, and you're gonna get access to cool things. And you know what? I'm feeling a little. I've been working on something. Should I show y'all? Man, you know what? You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show y'all something. If you can turn your if you're not looking at your screen, I'm gonna show you this because I've been working on it, and it's like one of those. You know when you're working on something for a long time and then it's available and you're like, yo, I want to show it to somebody who's not like my wife. Like I want some other feedback on it. We've been working on a trends report. So I'm gonna give you a little feedback. So we analyzed 10,000 speaking opportunities that had come into our system in the last few months to see like what kind of trends and what kind of things that we're noticing so that we can take like the macro information and make it available. So I want to just give a very specific thing before I show it. We're not showing anyone's individual data. We're not saying like Bonita spoke here and Jamar spoke there. Like we're not doing anything like that. What we're doing is taking the trends of these folks and making it available. So we're gonna make this available soon, I think. Uh, but I want to give y'all first a little. Do y'all want to see it? Do y'all want to? Do you want a little?
Yes.
Arel,
Yeah.
so tell us why these trends are. I know why this is valuable. Give us the reason why knowing where the trend is important.
Well, what I found fascinating when we analyzed the data is that, I think Wayne Gretzky said, you don't skate to where the puck is, you skate to where the puck is going.
Yep.
And I think why trends are so important as speakers too is I'm a big believer in this idea that you should never change your gift, but you might want to change the wrapping paper that you present your gift in,
I love
right?
that. That's great.
So when you know trends, like I was talking to a lady today and I was talking about this trends report, and she says, oh, well, I speak about this subject. And I was like, well, here's a different way to potentially like test on your website, on your marketing materials, positioning what you do and see how it works. And she was like, oh, I never would have thought about it that way. So I'm gonna give you a little sneak peek. I'm not gonna show you the whole thing, but and it's not like fully finished yet, but it's close. So y'all get the sneak peek. And then we're gonna go into your questions and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay. So this is kind of the trends report here. And what we did was analyze, like I said, 10,000 speaking opportunities, and we tried to see trends of who's booking people, what types of things they're booking for, and how this information might be helpful to us as professional speakers. So, a couple of things that I thought was wildly fascinating. So, number one, the highest industries that are currently booking speakers are tech, finance, consulting, and retail. So if you've not done anything on tech or finance or retail because they're not on your radar, these people are actually the top four folks who are booking the most. Next is associations, and associations I love because they're tried and true. And HR and leadership groups were on the top of that. Now, this is a really interesting thing. The language pattern that was highest used for speaking opportunities was actually the term corporate training and professional development. So here's why this is fascinating. Many of us refer to ourselves as keynote speakers, professional speakers, but we're not saying we're corporate trainers or we host professional development. Maybe you are, but what I would encourage all of you to do is do an audit of your website and just see, do you have the term professional development on your site? Do you have the term corporate trainer? The reason why that's important is for a few reasons. Number one, if this is what people are asking for, then this is what people are searching for. If your website doesn't have the phrase professional development on it, well, guess what? I'm not going to find it. If I do a search for speakers, if I say I'm looking for professional development on this topic, you might speak on that topic, but all of your keywords on your website are keynote speaker, motivational speaker, workshop presenter, facilitator. So using the language that people are actually using is super valuable. And I just wanted to point this out to y'all because I think a lot of people might go, oh, yeah, professional development, corporate training, but I'm willing to bet if I audited their site, those words aren't there. And if those words aren't there and people aren't seeing it. So one of the easiest things you could do is where your speech topics are and presentation descriptions are. If you haven't done this yet, just add also available as a professional development or corporate training, right? It's super easy. It's a text change. But again, if this is what people are asking for and searching, it's a really cool. We got like some of these hidden gold mines. We got a bunch of stuff here. I don't want to go through all of it because it's like still
When
being
is this
developed.
dropping, Arel? When is this dropping?
Yeah, it's coming soon. I don't have a date. It's soon. Soon is the answer, Jamar. But what's cool about it is this is actually data based. And this is what I think is so unique about this particular report and why I'm actually really excited about it going public. We just have to like create like a whole strategy and launch around it so it's helpful and useful and all that jazz. But the reason why I think it's really helpful is a lot of reports are very good, and many of them are self-reported, right? Like they ask people, how are you booking things? And then people self-report, well, I'm doing it this way, I'm doing it that way. Now, sometimes, has anyone ever gone to a fight with their partner or spouse and they go, you said this, and you go, no, I didn't say this, I said this. And it's like sometimes self-reported behavior has a little like variable. Like what's cool about this is it's actually an analysis of 10,000 speaking opportunities that's data based. So I think all the reports that are trends are super helpful, and you should watch all of them and read all of them. But we've got some really, really cool trends and themes and folks. So that's coming, teasing it. And y'all got a little bit of the juice right now. So do me a favor in the chat. Should I keep developing this? Is this like useful? Or are you like, suck it up, Buttercup, and do something else with your time? Maybe make another funny video. Did y'all see the funny video? Did y'all see like, because I put a lot of work into that.
Arel, release it now. I think for those of us who showed up in real time, we should get a copy of it now, just to keep to ourselves, not to share, just to give us a little advantage because we showed up.
You know what?
And in exchange,
Release the Kraken.
yes, release the Kraken. And I think the challenge should be we send you just a new person to the platform within 24 hours for our appreciation.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. There's gonna be a link in the chat. If y'all are here and you get it, I'm gonna say, you know what? You can thank Jamar. You can all friend request Jamar on LinkedIn and say, thanks, Jamar. I appreciate it. But I'm gonna challenge y'all to read it. If you have any questions about it, feel free to like let me know. But yeah, refer like as a thank you for the data. Like it's still being developed. It's still being like there's gonna be some like, it's not like a fully polished finished product. It's close. It's for sure close, but it's not fully developed. So there's some things we're gonna figure out. But anyway, I'm really excited about it. Yeah, so cool stuff is coming. So one of the things that we want you to be aware of that when you are involved with Talkadot, we are constantly looking for new ways to serve you, new ways to hopefully make things more fun and more enjoyable. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it. So everyone, find Jamar on LinkedIn and comment on one of his posts.
So Arel, I love coming to these because I feel like you always give me at least one idea that will help me actually close a deal in the short term. So I was just thinking to myself, we've got a ton of Talkadot users, but a lot of people, they're busy, we're traveling, they miss these times, but these times are golden because, you're giving high level consulting, which you used to charge thousands for, but because you've scaled up this tool, now it's like, hey, I'm going to give away the game for free, but only to the people who want it inside. So it's like for that reason alone, the membership is worth its price annually just to get these little gems. But specifically, like myself, I've been a speaker for a while. I coach people into the game. Of course, I teach some of the things that you've taught me. But this trend report is so important because a lot of times people, when they're first starting out, they've got this message that they want to get out. And I'm like, whatever you call your thing, it really matters how does that serve the client? And until you're a sought after name for only your topic, you're always serving your client. So what do they want? And then you mold your story around that. That's how I've had success as being.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the philosophy of you put your fishing line in where the fish are biting.
Yep.
You could have the best bait, the best line, the best hook, the best rod, but if you're putting your line into a water where there's no fish, it's like, you know, what are you gonna do with that? Nothing. So
Yeah.
put it where the fish are. Put it where the fish are.
Yeah. No, that's really great. Now I have a question about with
Oh,
your
before you jump into the question, I'm gonna get
okay.
your question first, Jamar. For anyone who has a question, again, this is AMA. Ask me anything, so it could be anything about the tool, anything about the speaking industry, anything about like I'm about to give a talk. I've never given a talk before, or I've never used Talkadot before. How do I integrate it? Or this just happened. Any question you have is inbounds. If I can't answer it, odds are someone in the community can. But the goal is to make sure any place you feel stuck or unblocked, we can get you unblocked. So if you have a question, just use the raise your hand function, which is under the emojis or React thing down there. I think it's React. And then you can raise your hand. And then we will go through each question that's asked in that order. So, Jamar, you will kick us off.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Arel. My quick question is about so I do a lot of charity events every month, fundraiser as both an MC as
Hmm.
well as an auctioneer.
Yeah.
And one of the challenges that I see a lot, people reach out kind of last minute and they go, "Hey, we've never actually hired a professional before because we've had XYZ TV personality who
Yep.
just did it for free, right?
Yep.
Pro bono." And so because they have no idea what it costs. But one of the ideas that I got, and it stems from what you talked about in terms of like getting sponsorship for your talks, like credit unions and banks. I wanted
Yep.
to know, do you have maybe an updated list of potential companies that I can reach out to in order to help close that funding gap between what I try to charge for my services versus a nonprofit who's not used to paying for it?
Yeah, no, so I don't have a list of like organizations that like these people love funding. Typically, the way it works is it's just someone who either usually local companies are better than like national
Yeah.
companies, right?
Mhm.
So normally it's either a local company that wants to connect its brand to the good cause, or B, someone who wants to get in front of those people for sales reasons, right? So
Got
whenever I'm doing anything that's like that, if I can think of those partners, that's great. Another opportunity, and I have to just say this, I've not done this myself. I've not done this myself, so I can't say from personal experience that this works. However, I do know someone who told me this is what they do when it comes to auction events. So again, I cannot say this with full confidence, but maybe just an idea. You ask them, how much did you raise last year?
Yeah, I do that.
How much do you raise this year? And I'll just take a percentage of the bump.
Yes.
So if I raised $10,000 last year and we raised $15,000 this year, I'll take 10%, so I get $500, right? And depending upon the event and the confidence level, like for them, there's no risk. Ultimately, because it's like, can I get more? So again, if you're already doing that and that seems to be a
Yeah.
common practice, then like great. But that's the only thing that I would know for that, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, I typically do a flat rate plus a percentage of the bump because
Oh yeah,
obviously, I've been doing this for a while. Um,
yeah.
now, now this is great. Now, last quick question on that same front about the sponsorships. It makes sense, right? People who have sales, people who want to associate with the brand. What categories have you had any success with in the past? Like for example, I've seen a lot of lawyers, whether it be personal
Banks,
injury,
financial
immigration.
institutions, number one.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
Credit unions, banks, those are the number one groups that want to be connected to positive
Affluence, yeah.
community involvement. And most banks and federal credit unions have someone whose job is about community engagement and community management. So just reaching out to them and saying, "Hey, we'd love for you to sponsor the event," and that sponsorship is the speaker sponsor, as an example. And those are the easiest lifts and the lowest. And typically, not always, but typically, any bank that is not a national presence bank is better. So like
Yeah.
instead of HSBC, you go to community bank. So
Is
those are always the first people to hit up.
since you're in reference to the banks, do you have a specific title you search for?
Community engagement.
Community
Anyone who's
engagement.
involved in community engagement. Yeah.
Got it.
They're going to have a lot of different names and titles for it, but it's basically whoever's in charge of community engagement,
Okay.
community programming, community engagement, stuff like that. Those are always the
All right.
best.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jamar.
Thanks, D. D in the chat. Community
Okay.
engagement officer, the CEO, not the real one, the fake one. Okay.
Yeah. See, people way smarter than me on these calls. So shout out to D. Mirabelle, you are up next. You are muted, Maribel. So anything you are saying, I cannot hear. Can you hear me? Nope, still muted. You are in the land of mute.
Okay, sorry, I
There
lost
you go.
for a moment. Firstly, I'm so happy to be here. I've been part of this community for, I want to say about 6 months. Found out about Talkadot through another speaker that was doing a keynote at an event that I was presenting at. And I've been using it I do mostly corporate presentations, so corporate training.
Yes.
And it's absolutely fantastic. Everything about Talkadot, I love it. My specific question is, most of my speaking engagements are for lawyers and accountants. And I work with energy management, which means time is more, people think they need to manage time, but it's really managing your, having clarity and managing your energy. So I coach one-on-one and I work with large corporations, working with C-suite and also with using biometrics to help with all of this. Yeah. Now, over the years, I've been noticing certain things, and as I evolve as well, I want to present a keynote that challenges the belief system, very strong belief system that most of us were raised in, which is that I need to work harder to be worthier, to receive more revenue, more love, more money, more whatever, right? And so what I want to share is about living an effortless life, which I know is possible because I do. And I'm curious if you have any thoughts on how to, it's a very strong belief we have that work harder, you know, all of this stuff, like, especially if you're a lawyer and accountant, you worked your butt off to get that degree. So I'm just curious how you might not kind of get their prickles up, but how you might present if you've ever done something where you totally flip the conditioning on people.
Yeah, so here's what you have to do in that particular case. And this is a really important framework for how you think about any presentation that you do. There are organizational problems that we solve, and there are individual problems that we solve, right? So if I solve an individual problem, like how to be more successful with less effort, that typically falls into the coaching, consulting world. When I solve organizational problems, I have to position what I'm doing in a way that would make the organization say, we as a company, as an organization, as a law firm have this problem, and we believe that this presentation is the solution. Now, this goes back to, and I'm not sure if you were here when I said this earlier, that the gift is the same, but sometimes the wrapping paper needs to be positioned a little bit differently, right? So if I'm a CEO of a law firm and someone says to me, hey, I want to show y'all you're working too hard. Let me show you how to be effortless. I might have a fear that's like, wait a minute, am I going to have a snarky employee that says, hey, I'm not working on Friday. It's too much effort for me. I want to chill, which obviously is not what you're probably saying. It's probably a much more like nuanced and detailed thing. So what I would say is take the exact same gift that you want to give people and ask yourself, and I don't know this answer because I'd have to think about it a little bit more, but it falls in the line of what is the organizational problem that this is solving? What if I bring it to a law firm and say, hey, you're dealing with this as a law firm, you're dealing with that. Here is a solution. And you know what? It's the complete, and I actually love those topics. Those are my favorite topics. And I'm so jealous when someone comes up with one because I want to, because they're my favorite. When someone basically does anything contrarian, everything you've ever learned about this is wrong. And here's why, right? And I remember I read something about this chess player who's like the best chess player in the world, whoever his name is. And his whole thing was chess is fun for me. It's a game and I like playing it. So other people are learning and memorizing and it's hard for them, but I approach it from a place of fun. So people think I'm lazy, but I'm not lazy. I'm having fun learning chess. So his whole approach was about fun, but he's still putting in the work, you know. And I was like, his whole thing was that whole grind and hate what you hate and like, you know, do it for 80 hours a week and just push through. He's like, it's totally stupid. Instead, how do you figure out how to have fun? And then that fun will drive you from it, as an example, right? So I love contrarian thinking because contrarian thinking says, hey, if that works, it would have worked already. It clearly doesn't. So what do we actually want, right? Like what we really want, and I'm just throwing out ideas. I don't know if these are good, but it's like we want people in their genius zone. We want people doing high output, low waste, like if you like imagine an organization where your employees were working on the biggest problems and solving the biggest needle movers and enjoying it. So they showed up and they wanted to, and your clients were having the best experiences possible. And the way you get there is by completely throwing out what's been causing you all the pain, frustration, and trouble, which is like this modality. So like that's how you want to start thinking about like it's organizational problems, not individual problems. And if you position the organizational problem, as long as it is an actual problem the organization has, that always wins. And anything contrarian that goes, and because here's the reality, like how do I say this? Every company thinks that they're a complete mess, and every competitor is killing it and perfectly smooth. Like every one of us on this call, we're like, Array's speaking business is amazing, and Lisa's speaker business and mine sucks. And the reality is like we're all dealing with our own junk, right? So position the organizational problem, show how what they've been doing actually that they think is the solution is the problem, what the new alternative is, and it's a wonderful positioning.
Awesome. That was super good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for being with us for 6 months. We hope you're here for many more, many more.
I will be.
Awesome. Thank you. Lisa, you are next.
Hi. Thank you for doing this. I learned so much from you, Arel. I've only been on this is only my second time showing up, and I've learned more from you than so many other opportunities. So keep doing what you're doing.
I'm gonna edit that one clip, and I'm just gonna put that one clip.
You can.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And a shout out to Alana, who's on this call. I met her for the first time in Costa Rica at a conference. I don't know if she's hearing, but hey, Alana. She's down there in the corner. My question for you.
I just want to acknowledge how amazing of a statement that was. Like, I just met this other Talkadot user in Costa Rica. That just makes me so joyful and happy. So anyway, yeah.
We were at a conference in Costa Rica. So what I'm hearing from other experts is pick a lane and speak to it and stay focused. And I have 2 lanes and they're so different. I want to know how I should market them, if I should combine them, if I should drop one, what to do. So my 2 lanes are, I bring health to health and safety as a resilience and well-being expert. So I speak to safety workers, mining, engineering, very technical industries. I'm also a menopause coach and I'm a wellness coach. So I'm passionate about educating men and women on menopause. So could be 2 completely different audiences, or maybe not. Do I keep them separate? Do I merge them? Do I promote them differently?
Now, is your goal keynote speaking, like coaching? What is your goal with both of those?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I'm still struggling with that. So as a keynote, I love keynoting and I love facilitating. So that's probably part of my journey to uncover that. Which one would be better as a keynote? Usually health and safety keynotes. And menopause is a new topic. So I'm just starting to speak publicly.
Well, this goes back to what I was telling Mirabelle. So actually, this is a good framework, right? There's a couple of different ways to look at speaking as an industry, and I think this will be helpful for you to understand. So there's the front end of speaking and there's the back end of speaking, right? So the front end of speaking is a keynote fee. This organization will pay me an honorarium to show up and speak to their people. There is also what's called the back end of public speaking, which is I go to an organization and speak either for low bono or pro bono, meaning I get paid nothing or very, very little. But that's okay because on the back of the end of the presentation, I'm hoping to enroll people into a coaching program, a consulting program. And I genuinely believe that speaking is the single greatest medium to go from stranger to trust to client, like in an hour. Like if you do a really, really good hour on like menopause, as an example, or as one of my friends said, menopause. I guess men go through something. I thought that was humorous. But like, let's say you want to do that, and it's really about how do you navigate. And I don't know what exactly the content is, but like how do you navigate it? How do you like maintain your wellness while dealing with that particular life phase? That strikes me as a and back to what I was saying to Mirabelle. There's an individual problem, and then there's an organizational problem. So if I solve an individual problem, speaking becomes a medium for me to get clients. It's not a medium for me to get front end business for like keynotes and honorariums. When I'm speaking to safety, health, you said safe and what was it?
Health and safety.
Health and safety, right? So if I'm speaking to health and safety, that's an organization. So organizations have organizational problems and they pay keynote fees and professional development and training honorariums for people to come in and serve or solve an organizational problem for their people. So if you want to kind of hold the framework, you could do it, and I'm not saying you should, I'm saying you could, like ultimately it's your decision, right? You could do it as I want to help women or help people deal with menopause, and I'm going to use speaking as a front end mechanism to get people into the back end, which is coaching and consulting. And I'm going to do speaking for organizations for, safety and health. Now, this is key, and this is like where it gets tricky. I would not personally, I'm not saying you shouldn't. I would not make that on one website. Those would have to be two completely different properties. Because if I'm saying I want to hire, I see this mistake often, and it may not be a mistake, but I believe it's a mistake where people try to do too much on one website. So they go, I'm a college speaker, a corporate speaker, I do hair, I do nails, and I also do car detailing, and I walk dogs, right? And you're like, that's like the moment I see that on a website, I don't actually think you're more talented. I think you're less talented because no one's excellent at all those things, right? Like you're excellent at like a few things. But if you have totally separate properties, totally different web properties. And I did that for a long time. Like I had collegesuccessprogram.com, and that was my education, youth, college market speaking. And I had artoflikability.com, which was my, corporate professional development. And they just two completely different entities. Like they didn't live. It's a lot more work. It's not smart to run two at the same time because trying to serve two masters, you will fail at both. So that is a lot of context to say what I'm about to say, which is if you're looking for keynote speaking, workshop speaking, and front end to be paid to speak, I would, if I were in your shoes, and I want to be very clear, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying if I were in your shoes, I would focus my keynote business on that, or I would focus on getting people into my menopause program. Now, each one has different pros and cons, right? Because the menopause thing, that's easy targeting, right? There's a certain age when women will go through that, and you can do targeting to that age. And those women will go through it and they need help and support. And it's probably something new and it's a pain that they want, like it's a new change and they want that solved. And it's really great when you solve a pain for people. The benefit of the keynote speaking side is that you get paid up front from the organization, and those organizations are also easy to find, right? You just look for the associations or the conferences that those health and safety folks go to. You show how to put the safety back into it. You present at those conferences. Those people say, that's amazing. I want you to speak to our company, and then you get paid. So though I can't tell you, yes, do this, or no, don't do that, those are the different, if I were in your shoes, the different ways that I would look at them. And then you've got to decide like which one's better. And the one advice I'd give you, which is the worst advice in the world to hear, is that I've never known someone to do two things great at the same time. I've known someone to do one thing great and then add a second thing to it. So it's kind of hard to serve two masters. You know what I said? You know what I mean? I serve two masters, right? Like try to do two things that are very different very well. You tend to do both things okay. So like choose one, get good, and then add the other one would be like, that would be actual advice I might give.
Gotcha. So I think it's clear. I think you cleared it up for me brilliantly, like you usually do. So for LinkedIn, so the profile should only be focused on one, or is it pretty hard to do?
It's hard to do more than one. It's hard.
Yeah.
Like people can do it. I'm just saying it's hard. That's all.
Right. Okay.
Like think about like, great examples of people who do lots of things, like Tim Ferriss. Do you know who Tim Ferriss is? He's an author. Anyway, he started out all about productivity. Then he got into health. Then he got into like dating, and he's like Malcolm Gladwell has done a ton of things. I don't know if you know who Malcolm Gladwell is. He's a thought leader and he's written tons of incredible books, but he always chose one subject, ran that subject dry, and then added a new one. So he's known for more than one thing. Like Tim Ferriss is known for the 4 hour work week and the 4 hour body and the 4 hour chef, right? Like it's like three completely different industries. But choosing one and then like, and here's the good news, which like I want to say this properly because it's going to come off bad. I'm going to say this, it's going to come off bad, but please don't take it bad, right? You could choose something today, do it with all of your heart for 6 months and change your decision, and no one will care except you. Like people change their niche all the time and they think, oh my gosh, everyone knew me as the health and safety person. How can I transition into the menopause person? And the only person who actually cares is you. No one else cares. And you can make that transition like that and just say, this is the thing I'm super passionate about. So that's where I'm putting my energy. And everyone goes, yay, good for you. So like you could choose either one and then add the other one. Like it's fine.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I
You're
got some
welcome.
feedback from some other folks, so thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Let us know on the next AMA what step closer you are.
Okay.
One step closer. Oh, Rain, I saw your hand up earlier and it went down. Did you want to ask a question or were you good?
Well, I kind of wanted to just piggyback off what Jamar was saying. So, like, so I speak in the youth space, and sometimes they may not have a budget. So I was thinking of if you or anyone had any maybe just language they may use when trying to reach out to a sponsor to
What
try.
kind of, when you say youth, are you talking high school? You talking middle school? You talking, what are
So
you
high
talking?
school and college area is the
High
arena.
school and college. So college, the easiest mechanism is a co-sponsorship within another department on the college campus. So
Mm,
for example, if student activities is bringing you in, they might have, I'm making a number up, 1,500. Can you co-sponsor it with multicultural affairs and they can drop another 1,000? And then can you co-sponsor that with the Greek board? So now on the flyer, it's Orain Williams, right? Brand new motivations, sponsored by multicultural affairs, student activities, and the Greek office. So college campuses is actually, a lot of people don't do that. And I don't know why, because it's the easy, like what a lot of people don't realize is that colleges, universities do not have budgets. Departments on colleges and universities do have budgets and they're totally separate and they don't commingle and they're completely different. So I might have like as like student leadership department, I might have money and alumni affairs has money and multicultural affairs has money and orientation has money and student success has money and they're all different pots of money and you just say put it all together, just reach out, like put it all together and bring me in. So college is super easy to do that and a lot of times, and it's the funniest thing, you'll bring this up to a college and they'll go, I never thought about that. That's a great idea. Let me reach out to Joe, who's like their best friend who they can text and get money from, you know? So college is super easy in that way. High school is a little different because you have to find a group that either A has a grant, so like Trio, Gear Up, those type of groups have grants that help high schools, and sometimes high schools don't have those grants that are in there, so they don't have the funding source. But I will go back to the same thing that I said to Jamar: banks, financial institutions, because especially if they're seniors, they could open a bank account. Like I did a whole tour with multiple credit unions because they wanted to have seniors open their first checking account, and like there's some math which I don't know. Like the first bank you open or the first financial institution you open your account with, you like stay with for like a bajillion years. So they don't care that they're only putting $12 in the account. They're trying to build a long-term relationship. So like, hey, if and again, it has to match. Like you can't just like if I'm talking about, I don't know, uh, menopause, and I'm like, can the bank sponsor my menopause talk? They're gonna be like, how does this tie into like our goals? So it just has to tie into their goals, which is typically financial literacy, financial wellness, and that kind of stuff. So it's a little trickier with the high school, but with college, it's pretty simple.
okay, yeah, that was a golden nugget. I never thought about that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Get her done, man. Yeah, and also Nick Zizi's here. This dude does a lot of youth speaking, so talk to him, the zebra man. I still got my zebra, Nick. Just No, this guy Nick sent me this. Just want to let you know, Nick. Always not too far from my visual. All right. Hope that was helpful, brother. Elaine.
What's up?
Top of the morning. Or top of that. I don't know. I don't know what British people say. I was trying to be cool. I was just terrible. I apologize. Go ahead, Elaine.
Top of the morning.
No
We're
one
not the
says that, right?
we're not the 1930s.
This is how terrible my like non-Americanness is. Like I'm
Isn't
so
that
American.
Irish?
I'm like, that's what British people must say today, right? It's terrible. I apologize. Go ahead, Elaine. I apologize.
Oh. Hi everyone. I haven't seen you for a while. Hope you are well, Ariel.
Good to see you.
So I want to understand a bit more the breakdown of attendees found this session blank, you know, whatever word you have, interactive, engaging. So I did 2 talks recently. One I kind of got 98%, and the other one I got 92%, 91%, etc. When I went through them, like the leads, to see what color were the smiley faces that created this, apart from 2 who had one of the reactions, they had a yellow, they were all, I guess, the light green and then the dark green. So
Ooh, you lost me on the colors. When you say light green and dark green, what are you referring to?
your
The emoji faces.
emoji faces.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm caught up.
So I guess what the lighter green is good and the darker green is very good.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Let me
So
pull it up.
Yeah, so I was a bit miffed. I was like, nearly everybody had those 2, but I'm at 92%. So is there a percentage?
Yeah,
If
so it's
people do
weighted. So yeah, so this is how it works. So if you
like this
imagine,
weighted thing.
yeah, so if you look at a 1 to 5 scale, so for let me just pull it up so everyone can. I think I can show. Oh Lord, have mercy. Hold on, let me just make sure I'm not giving away anyone's person. There we go. Okay. Let me share my screen just so everyone can see what we're talking about here. If you click on any of your leads and hit the drop down arrow, you can see that like this is the highest rating here, and then it'll change the emoji face and go down, 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 down. So the first thing to know is that each one of those is a 1 to 5 scale, right? So it's either I hate you a little bit, I'm neutral, I like you, I very much like you, right? So each one of those is weighted a percentage wise a little bit different. So if you had like 80% of the people, and let me pull up the example on one of my talks here. Okay, sharing my screen. Great. So what you'll see here, for example, is 96% said that they would want to hear me speak again, right? So what that's doing is out of the 114 people that gave me this feedback here, right? This percentage said definitely, and this percentage says probably yes. So what we do is take the definitely yes and probably yes and put it together as the people who expressed positive sentiment that they want to hear you speak again. Now, 4 people said probably not. So anyone that gives a neutral, definitely not, negative, like definitely not or probably not, gets excluded from the people who would mark it as valuable. Like this person said it was not valuable right here. So if you want to see who said it was not valuable, if you want to do like a little recon, you want to go to talks here and then click on these 3 dots and go to download all data. And this will give you a spreadsheet. And then you can just, let me see if I can just, well, I don't want to share because everyone keeps.
Hey, Tucker, Jamar here. I just listened to.
I just muted Jamar. I've been given feedback that I'm. Oh wait, actually, hold on. Let me try to do something. I'm gonna see if this works. This will either not work or work because my team keeps telling me I keep giving away sensitive information and I should stop doing that. Like people's contact information because I'm like I just like sharing. Let me see if this blur feature works and I'll show you. Hold on. Oh no, that only works there. Hold on. Let me just pull it up here so you can see it. Downloading, opening. Dang it, I cannot. Ugh. Okay, well, there's no way for me to pull up this spreadsheet without sharing everyone's public information. But basically, what you would do is, I wish I could show it to you, but I got to get better at not, because I can't upload these to YouTube because it shows people's data. What you do is just download the all data button here, and then you can see, like, you can sort who said it was valuable and who said it wasn't, and then you can see that. So basically, if anyone says that it's definitely not or probably not, those are the folks that get excluded, and then it's weighted based on that percentage in the total report here.
Yeah, I got that. I mean, I had like 100 and 100, so that was fine. It was more you can see to the right-hand side, engaging, inspiring, relevant. It was that I was looking at. It's all in the 2092. I was like, hello, I'm used to 98. What's going on here? And
yeah. So if you download that spreadsheet, you'll be able to see who on the engaging, inspiring, relevant, what their ratings were for you as well.
yeah, I get that. And I'm not going to do much apart from hunt them down and kill them. But apart from that, like,
Yeah.
I just wanted to understand what was going on Talkadot that has you rate at that percentage.
Oh, like at what point are they doing that?
No, it's for you. How do you rate that when I was like a bit bemused that most people were 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5, and yet I still only got 92, 91. I was like, I don't understand your rating, that it gets rated quite low just because someone's doing a 4 out of 5. To me, that's pretty good still. I don't think I
Yeah,
give 5 for many
that's a
things.
yeah, so like when someone is giving feedback here, like this is weighted a little bit differently than this one is. So even though this one has a positive sentiment, which is good, and this one has a better sentiment, which is good, this one is going to get weighted a little bit different, which is a mathematical formula, which I am not. We had math people put that together, which I am not. I just know what the end result is. So if you have someone who ranks it like a 3 or a 4, it just brings your overall percentage down by some equation that our engineers have put in. So that's how that gets rated there.
Okay. I don't think I like your rating for 4 and 5, because some people,
Yeah,
they just won't give a 5. It's just how some people aren't. Some people aren't going to give you 10 out of 10. They'll give you 9 out of 10. So I feel like
100%.
I'm getting slated a little bit with my
Well,
score.
think of it like this. Think of it like this. What was the score that you got that you were
Can
referencing?
I
What was the
share?
well, yeah, you could let me share. You can
That you
share.
can both see both of them, just comparisons.
Yeah.
Like,
So on the one on the right, you got
yeah,
high 90s, right?
yeah.
And then on the one on the left, you got 90s, right? Now, keep in mind, this represents a couple of things. So here's how I would look at this data, right? So number one, what was different about the audience on the right and the audience on the left? Like
The
the
audience on
people.
the right they were very warm, and it was easy to touch your neighbor and look at your neighbor and da 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 da. Whereas the audience on the left are a bit more reserved.
Right. So this is how I start using data to improve the way that I give my presentations. And this is what data will do that like our gut will always fail us at. So if I go, okay, well, what do I know about like public administrators as an example? Every time I speak to public administrators and I do a more, warm, touchy-feely presentations, I get high 90s. If I go to these are food
Yeah.
vendors. I'm not sure exactly, like university food vendor. So if I speak to like more frontline staff or people in this type of industry, and I do that same type of presentation, I get lower scores. So as an example of how I've used this data, I noticed, so I speak to engineers occasionally, not always, but I noticed that whenever I did high EQ activities with engineers, literally like turn to the person next to you, stand up, turn around, and made them move a lot, I would get lower scores with engineers specifically. Because engineers that I discovered, they don't, and I'm making a general brush, like I'm sure there's engineers that are fine with it, but like they want less of the I want to stand up and do an activity, and they want more information to be able to do the things that they want. So, one of the things that you could look at is it's not about the presentation or the content itself. It could be, hey, you know what? The reason I gave you a 4 out of 5 and not a 5 is because I loved everything except you made me talk to the person next to me. And that was like, for me, I hate that. I don't want to talk to nobody. I just want to sit down and get it. So if you see patterns with a particular kind of group, these are clues on how to maybe adjust the way that you deliver so that you go, hey, you know what? I did and let's just, and I'm totally making this up and it's gonna be totally wrong. Let's say everyone looked like a stereotypical lunch lady at the food thing, right? Like, and I'm not saying that's what they looked like, but I'm saying like, let's say they did. That could be a very different type of human than someone who's a social worker, who's all about hearts, feelings, and connections. Not that I'm always like afraid of someone's gonna get offended because I'm saying something. I'm not saying that food ladies don't have hearts and stuff, right? But they might want like, hey, just give it to me as is. That there was an activity. So if you start noticing trends,
Mm.
use that as data versus it as um a a a judgment of the quality of the experience you bring. Because if you're getting 90s, like and I can tell you this, and this is something I don't like, I share when people ask, but people say, oh, I got 90s. I notice everyone who shares their data gets 90s. I can tell you from personal experience because I look into data, not everyone gets 90s. But who's going to go onto the internet and say, look at my 60% score that I got on my keynote? Nobody. No one's sharing their data image of their 60% success rate. So
Uh,
people only share if they get high results, but it's not normal like to get such high results. We have again tens of thousands of users. So like, just know that your content's good, but these are the little hinges that can swing big doors of how you modify it based on your audience.
Thank you. I'm taking away, obviously, reframing it and looking at a different viewpoint that I hadn't really seen, which is, adapting my keynote depending on who the audience is and the potential styles that they like their
Yes.
their presentations delivered to them
I
at.
I used to do a thing in my presentation where I would jump on a chair when I was
Oh,
telling a story, and then jump off the chair. I've spoken to a lot of hard science folks. I stopped doing that with them. It just I look like an idiot apparently in the eyes, and I don't know if Bobby can confirm if what I'm saying is true. Be like, you're a clown. What are you jumping off that chair? But when I speak to other groups and they love it. It's funny. They gasp. It's amazing. So this is how you become like in any, this is just my interpretation. These are the little things that make someone world class when they can start going. I know exactly what my content is. I know exactly what this kind of audience wants. I got that experience, and I'm
mm.
gonna make it so that they're like, ugh, my favorite compliment, and I don't know if it should be, but actually it's not one of my favorite compliments is when someone says, I've heard a lot of professional speakers before and I hate all of them, but I actually liked you. And I'm always like, thanks. And that's like little things like that that I think help get you help get one there.
Yeah, okay. And just a very quick question. Would you look more at industry specific in terms of the audience or regions here in the US, like the people in the South and
It's a
the
great
East and
it's a
West
great
and the
question.
North? The North are a bit more like I've done one in Maine and they were just super reserved.
Yeah, it's a great
I
question.
don't know if that's here in the US.
The simple answer is it depends. It's hard to say this is the thing that I look for. I started getting a lot of feedback whenever I spoke in the South that I speak too fast. And I would get that feedback a lot. So I became more aware that if I'm speak because I'm a New Yorker, so I speak with like New York speed. And when I'm in Virginia, when I'm in Texas, they're like, I can't understand what you're saying. I spoke in Atlanta for a conference and I had a bunch of feedback that said he was great. I couldn't understand him. So regionality is also based on what you're seeing. Like if the numbers show something or if the qualitative data shows something, so it's hard to say this is what you look for. I think what you're trying to ask yourself is, hey, these two presentations, I got low 90s. I normally get high 90s. What do they have in common? Like what's this? Oh, they were both in Texas, or they were both in Maine, or they were both for frontline workers. And that's where data analytics becomes really a fascinating detective journey, because you might go like, I found out that I did really well when I was younger. I did really well with like 60-year-old women. My client base were like 60-year-old women because I represented the kind of guy they would want their daughter to marry. And that was like a weird data point to figure out. But I realized that, like, I don't think that's the only reason people book me or whatever. But I started getting that feedback from people when I started digging. And this was before Talkadot, so it was all qualitatively figuring it out. But they kept saying, like, oh man, I wish I had a son like you. I wish my daughter would date a guy like you. And I was like, wait a minute. So when I was at conferences in my like 20s and I saw like a 60-year-old woman, I'd be like, hey, and it built a lot of clients. And I actually feel embarrassed now that I shared that out loud. I don't think I've ever shared that publicly. I'm gonna
Well,
shut up.
thank you.
I'm gonna shut up. Yeah, but yeah, like that's what you look for.
Cool. Thank you for helping me dive deeper into the data.
You are welcome. Any more questions, please reach out, of course, Elaine.
Yeah.
Um, all right. I saw a question in the chat. The question was, hope you're doing well. 2 quick questions from Nick Zizi. We are hosting a second annual single summit this week, and I'll be moderating a panel Q&A. I've done this many times before, but I'm always looking to improve. Do you have any tips or best practices for moderating a panel effectively, especially when it comes to managing time, energy, and audience management? Yeah, I've moderated quite a few panels in my day. The biggest thing with moderating a panel is making sure that the panelists are informed as much as humanly possible on how you're going to cut them off. The biggest challenge with panels is people can diatribe, they can monologue, and they can go really long, and it's like maybe helpful. So what I tell folks is, if you see me lean in, or if you see me start going like nodding my head or start saying yeah a lot, that means I need you to wrap up. But then I always say this: please do not address the fact that I'm trying to wrap you up. Because like I've had panelists in the past when I say, hey, just so you know, if I like nod or if I say yeah a lot, that means that I want you to kind of wrap it up. And then panelists will go, oh, it looks like Arel's trying to wrap me up, so I'll finish up my point. And it's like embarrassing for everybody. So I like to inform people that the second thing that I like to inform people on a panel is, just because an audience member asks a question doesn't mean everyone on the panel has to answer it. There's this like belief that like, oh, how do you accomplish a healthy marriage or whatever it is? And then like 6 people want to like answer that question, and then everyone does it for 3 minutes, 3 times 6, takes up half of the dang presentation. So letting people know that if they have something valuable, please jump in, but no one should feel the pressure that they must answer every question that's asked. And then the third thing that I love to do is I like to have pre-written questions that are open-ended that I ask ahead of time. I let the audience know we're going to transition into your questions, but before we do that, I want to ask one more question here. So you get more questions from the audience quicker. And then I always have a few questions that I don't ask, that if I don't get anything from the audience, I can ask to keep the energy flowing. I mean, if you do that, you're going to have a really, really, really good panel, and you'll be a wonderful moderator. Second question, are there any feedback tools or platforms you'd recommend for event planners to evaluate the effectiveness of their sessions? I'm looking for something easy to use but insightful. Appreciate any thoughts or resources you can share. There's a thing called Talkadot. I kind of like it a lot. It's a really good tool. Obviously, Talkadot is built from the speaker perspective, but we have a lot of event planners that actually use our tool and modify it for their needs. Now that you can customize questions, you can actually have an event planner customize the questions so that it's about the event itself, right? So instead of was Nick's talk valuable, it would be like, was ASAE's presentation valuable? And then how was the food, and how was so since you can customize the questions, you just make it an organizational account on Talkadot, and they can use a lot of our features like wonderfully. So I would recommend that. If not Talkadot, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not hard in the other side of that fence, but those are the two those what I would recommend. Nick, if you have any, if I know you're on, like, I think you have a client call that came in, so if you have any questions, please jump in and let me know. Neil, we're gonna go to you, and then we're gonna go to Mandy, and then we're gonna tie a bow on it. What's up, Neil?
Is there a time window that you would suggest for sending the visuals that Talkadot produces to event planners?
I try to do it same day or next day, the latest. Same day or next day. The reason why I like to do it same day is because it usually wows them, because they're used to any client that gets feedback through any feedback mechanism they use, they don't actually get their data till like 3 to 4 weeks later. So the fact that they can get it right away, it's usually like, how did you get this so quickly? Which, like, especially since you're like, a tech guy, fastness to wow is always really good. If for any reason you can't send it that day because of travel or you forgot or whatever, if you send it the next day, it still creates a very similar experience.
Thank you.
You are welcome. All right, and I think to do follow-up leads. Yes. So Mandy asked, I just joined the call and may have missed this. Did I hear something about Talkadot being able to do follow-ups? Yeah, absolutely, Mandy. So there's two ways that you can do that, right? So I'll show you the quick way, and then I'll show you the other thing that we're doing. So the quick way for all users is you go to leads right here, and then you go to leads follow-up right here. And we have these automated emails that you can turn on that says a singular email. We are currently piloting a leads follow-up program that we have sent out to a couple of speakers to actually close leads that come into Talkadot for speakers. It's a pilot program. We are just starting it. We've heard lots of feedback specifically from speakers that are not bureau represented or not manager represented. Represented. That was a weird way to say it. So if you have a manager, if you have a bureau, you have an agent, let them do your follow-up. That's amazing. But there's a whole category of speakers that don't have bureaus, that don't have managers, that don't have that folks. And we get feedback all the time that says, I don't like doing that part. I don't do that part. I sent one email, nobody responded. And I said, well, that's not how like this works. Like you got to like omni-channel, multiple touch points, continuous touch points. Like there's a whole process to it. So instead of swimming upstream and just telling speakers like you should do it, what we're trying to do is figure out how to actually enable through tech and, right now through humans, because it's a pilot, how to do that for speakers. So if anyone here is a speaker that is not represented by a bureau manager or agent, and it's something that you just would love to be in a world where you put up a QR code, people give you feedback, all your leads get follow up and closed on your behalf. And then we would obviously at this stage take a percentage of those. That's what that program is. So if it goes really, really, really well, we will open it up to more speakers. If it totally sucks, we'll figure out how to make it better, and like it'll not get launched. So this is not something that we are doing publicly or launching at a big level. We're not creating a bureau. We're not creating anything like that. We're figuring out how to help our users close their leads, because our belief is that if you close leads with us, where you going? Imagine a world where you just get your bookings closed and you speak and you get monies and you help impact lives and you ain't got to do any of the stuff you don't like. Like, we want to build a tool that you all love and you never leave. So like, in the best way possible, the more we help you succeed, the more we as Talkadot succeeds. And that's like the best way for things to be. So that's what that is. So if anyone's interested in that, just like stay connected to us. Announcements and stuff will be made if they are appropriate and if they come out. But right now, that's kind of like a little pilot program that we're doing. Elaine and then Jamar.
Right, I think that was my question. Is it a pilot? Do you have people jumping in to support you there? If you need extras, let me know.
It is a pilot program.
And I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea. I don't think speaker bureaus are interested in these types of leads. Having, I'm with a few speaker bureaus. I think they're interested in the warm leads. We don't even know these people, so I think don't worry about those, because they're
well, our big thing is we want to make sure that all of the we have incredible bureaus, incredible managers, incredible agents that we're really big fans of, and we want to service a very, very specific demographic in this pilot, and then with the tool that like helps them but doesn't compete with them, because we love them. So that's what we're figuring out how to do all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I don't feel like this will compete with them, because these are cold, warmish. When they're hot, yeah, definitely. But you would have nurtured them to be hot. I don't think my speaker bureau is going to spend time. They are definitely not going to spend time emailing these types of leads, because they haven't even come to me directly. So, as in a conversation. I was just saying, yeah.
I appreciate that. And again, our goal is to help and that's what we're gonna do. So we'll let you know how it goes, Elaine. You will know. I promise you that. Jamar.
So, Arel, I missed a little bit of that, so this question might be a little bit redundant. I was on a call, but for example, if I'm right now, let's say I'm generating maybe 20 to 25 leads per month. I'm not taking all of those, like maybe 4 to 5 of them maximum. So with those other additional leads, do is from what I'm hearing, is there a way that I could refer other Talkadot users and just get like a referral fee, like a 10% referral fee? Is that something?
Yes.
So you're creating like a board for that? Are you creating some
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah. So the only
okay.
reason why I said yes in like a weird way,
Yeah.
part of what we're doing with the pilot as well is to service that exact situation, right? So
Got
for
it.
example, let's say I'm a speaker and there's a opportunity that wants to close September 5th, and either A, you're already booked on September 5th, so
Yep.
you can't do it,
Yep.
or B, they want to book you at a fee that's below something that you can accept, right? Like, hey, I don't go out for that.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a whole, like literally we've got 10,000 speakers on our network, right? So we have a lot of, and we have data on how good they are, and we have data on who they spoke to.
Sure.
So part of this program is also going to be like, hey, Jamar, I know that you can't do it because you're booked on the 5th and it sucks. And then finding someone you can refer sometimes is hard. And how do you, so then we'll go, hey, we, based on our data, think Elaine is actually a great fit for that. And that fits within what her normal speaking fee range is.
Got
We
it.
would then pass it to Elaine. You would get a percentage because it was yours, and she would
Yep.
get it as well. So it's kind of a win-win for everyone. And then what we're doing is basically streamlining the process that all speakers ideally would want. Like if I can't do something, I want to pass it to someone. And if someone can't do it, pass it to me, right? And that's going to be part of what we're going to be
Got it.
testing as well.
Okay. When is that launching, roughly?
Great question. We're doing the pilot right now. So we're starting the pilot, and our main goal is to figure out all the bumps and bruises and all the things we know and all the things we don't know. So I don't have a hard date of like this is like it's so early that we're still have so much to figure out. So I don't want to give any date that seems like,
No worries.
but if you follow any AMAs, any emails we send, or any social media channels, when it is ready, you should know about it.
Cool. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you all for joining us for this week's AMA. This is always fun. I love connecting with people from our community. I generally think we've got like just a group of speakers that generally believe in the idea of lifting as we climb, and I love the kind of the soul and the nature of the type of people that we attract. I think we do a pretty good job of repelling all the a-holes. So thank you all for being incredible human beings and coming here and asking questions. And if you've never been to one of these sessions before, continue to show up, because they work. And one curiosity I have too, for those of you who are still with us, feel free to unmute yourself and just answer this. One of the things that we're looking to do is make these a little more high value for you. For those of you who attend, why do you attend? And those of you, when you skip a week, what makes you skip a week? If anybody wants to just mute and yell it out, this is just helpful information for us so we can build a better experience for you. So if anyone wants to yell it out, what what makes you show up and what makes you skip a week?
I show up because I want to hear the other questions because I always learn something. I think Jamar said it best. Everything you say and all the experience you give, like all the things, the behind the scenes stuff, has helped me tremendously in my business since I started using and sharing the results from my talks. So, and the great questions from Elaine today was worth the fee. So
Awesome. Well, that's super helpful. Thank you. And I think Jamar wants you to accept his friend request. I'm just doing to make you
he's
uncomfortable.
being funny because we're already connected.
All right. I don't know. I saw that in the chat. I was like, ooh, spill the
I
tea.
checked. I was like, what? Not me. And we're definitely connected. He says there was a subsequent message that I missed, but I pride
That's all right.
myself on responsiveness.
It's my worst fear. Like it happened to me today. I was at an event early this morning. That's why I got my suit jacket on here. Someone walked up to me and they said, "Hey, do you know who I am?" And I'm like, damn it. No, and now I feel bad because you know who I am. I don't remember who you are, or do you remember who I am? And then I was like, oh, just tell me your name as the intro. So I thought that was one of those moments. So I just was sharing my uncomfortability.
Oh, yeah. I definitely own it and I apologize. So in those cases, I'll be like, yeah, help me, please. Who are you? Like, I don't even care anymore. I just say I forgot and apologize.
I'll be like, nah, I don't know. Still got my name tag on here. All right, other reasons. Jump in. Like, what are the reasons you show up, and what are the reasons that you skip?
I show up because I don't know how many services that we may subscribe to in life where we get to actually hear from the founder, get advice, tips, coaching, and I always learn something, even if it's just a small nugget that helps move the needle forward. It's worth the time.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you sharing that.
Arel, this is FUBU. For us, by us. For speakers, by a speaker who, I've learned from, over the years. I don't even know back. I think I looked back. I might have been connected with you since like 2016-ish. I remember buying one of your courses that I feel like I've probably made at least 10, maybe 15x on just a couple of the nuggets you shared. So I was like, you're a man of value. So if I'm free, even at the very least, if I'm kind of co-working and just listening along, I know I'm going to get another one of those, what I call those infinite nuggets. But then, surprisingly, even some of the networking has been really cool. Just from hearing other people share, when we all speak, we find people that are like-minded, that are aligned, that are in similar fields, and there's a way to create synergy where, we're helping each other, we're uplifting each other. The community always feels extremely positive. So, one of the things they say the key to success is to surround yourself with people who are doing the same thing that you are doing. And in a world where we're all isolated, most of us work from home, speaking can be a very lonely thing. This is a chance to kind of get together and kind of have that, okay, I'm connected with other speakers, I'm hearing other questions, things that I would never thought about, would never think about. So there's just so many possibilities. So this is kind of like my, midweek mastermind opportunity to connect with, other fellow speakers, get some questions that I have answered. And then I think too, because you've got a tech platform that's data driven, you're kind of able to see the full gamut of the beginning speaker to the very experienced speaker and in between. So there's going to be some insights there that you get because you've got that high level view. It's almost like you're Google for speakers. And so with all that data, you're going to be able to help us, figure out some things, go a little bit faster than if we just went alone.
Yeah, and I think I appreciate you saying that. And one of the things I think we can really do is also bring the speaking industry is in general very fragmented. Like the data is very fragmented, the experiences are
Mhm.
very fragmented, and if we have the opportunity to actually smooth it out, I think rising tide lifts all boats. So I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you, brother.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Cool. Other points before I know we're like 10 minutes over here, so I want to respect everyone's time. One more, if anyone wants to share. It's just helpful, like, to hear straight from you.
Oh, Arel, I didn't get to tell you, as a professional comedian, your sketch was absolutely hilarious. I
Thank you,
love
man.
the reveal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, is he, it's like it seems off brand at first. It's like, what is he talking about? I kind of knew you had an angle, but it was a really good angle. So I appreciated the production value. I feel like
Thank you.
that had to have taken you probably 2 or 3 hours of total shot time, and then editing time, what, maybe another 6?
I wish it took that long.
Ooh.
That took 4 months to shoot.
Oh, well,
That video, I started it in November. Quick story. I'll tell you a quick story. It was supposed to be a completely different video, the original video. The original video was actually supposed to be like one of those drug commercials where
hmm
it's like, I keep shitting all over myself. And it's like, do you experience shitting all over yourself in public, shitting over yourself? And you're like, it was supposed to be this really funny, like drug. And
hmm
then it's like, oh, what's the answer? And it's like Talkadot, right? That was the original. So we had a whole script. We wrote the whole thing for that.
Yeah.
And then that dang dude who did something terrible in December to the United Healthcare CEO came out
Oh,
in
yeah.
December. And I was like, I
Mm,
started getting a lot of feedback from people like, you probably don't want to touch that
yeah.
space at all, right? It's just
Yeah.
it was hot. It was terrible.
Yeah.
So basically we had to take the same premise, but then go like, how do we like rejig it? So then we rejigged it and then we shot it in different locations. And then we had to like find this one of our speakers, Frank Kitchen, who was in it, like actually speak at like go to one of his
Yeah.
events
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
film
Yeah.
at it. And it was a whole so it was like the craziest labor of love. But I loved how funny it was. I loved how funny
Yeah.
it was, and I'm glad other people, because like it's very subjective. Humor is subjective, but I'm glad our people, our
Are
speakers,
you
like
gonna
it.
use it as an ad and just run it as just like a boosted content just to get some
Yeah. Yeah. So it's totally organic right now, and then we're gonna
Okay.
put some paid behind it.
Because I think if you do that, you might be able to apply for one of those Clio awards. And
I don't
they
even know what
have
that
they
is.
have like a comedy section. It's like an advertising conference that gets together and awards like the different advertising categories.
Send it. Send me. I don't know
Yeah,
about Cleo. Send it to me. Send it to me.
Seinfeld just won a lot of those because remember those American Express commercials he used to do?
I do.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's that funny, but
No,
if you're
but I mean,
talking about
I'm sure they
Seinfeld,
have I'm sure they have like an internet marketing, like,
if they've got like, you know how like there's the Oscars and then there's like the short film Oscar. Like if there's like a subcategory maybe, but I can't compete with Seinfeld. Yes, if y'all could repost the video on LinkedIn, I actually put do me a favor. You know what? I know I asked y'all for your feedback, but I'm just gonna put this in here. If y'all could be so kind, I'm gonna throw in the link. If you have yet to uh uh watch this video, one, watch it. Two, if you've not reshared it, if today was helpful, just click on that link, hit repost, hit like, comment. You know how YouTubers say that? Like, share, comment. Please
Like,
do
share,
all
comment.
three. Okay. If you don't want to like or share, just comment. If you don't want to comment, just share. Just the algorithm likes when people do that stuff. Okay. Like I don't know what LinkedIn wants, but if you interact with it, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't seen it, I think it's pretty funny. I think it's like if you're a speaker, it should and what funny video was created just for us. So check it out, watch it. Appreciate
I've
it.
shared it.
Thank you. Share it again, damn it, Jamar.
Please.
Share it again, damn it.
Listen, if you want to put me on your digital street team, we gotta just talk about salary because
reshare it. I gave you the report, didn't I? I gave you the trends report early, didn't I?
I'll share it again.
Thanks.
If
you downloaded the digital trends,
I'm gonna have my mama leave a comment. Mama, go to LinkedIn.
Have your mama. As long as people are interacting with it, man. I don't care. But I hope everyone enjoyed. I love these AMAs. I love connecting with everybody. If you have any questions, hello@talkadot.com. Reach out to us. We also have a chat feature on the app and on our website, so you can jump into chat at any point and get any questions you want answered in the moment. You are never alone. We have a whole team here to help you and support you along the way. And I hope you enjoyed our presentation.
I got another question for you, Arel.
Oh yeah.
Do you have a Talkadot song yet? Theme song?
We got a jingle. I mean, we got the jingle.
What's the jingle?
You ain't watched the end of the video, man.
I missed it. Let me go back and rewatch it.
You know what?
It wasn't memorable, Arel. It wasn't.
You just outed yourself, man. There's a jingle. There's a jingle at the end of the video. We created a jingle.
But it should be hip hop, Arel. Come on.
It's not hip hop. It's not. It's a jingle. A jingle is not hip hop. A jingle is like by Menon. That's like what a jingle is.
Yeah, you need a theme song. That's different.
You want to? Yeah, you want to? You know what? If anyone needs to leave, you can leave. But I'll play out a jingle. I'll play you right now. Hold on, I'll play you. Hold on, let me. All right, here we go. This is the jingle. Hold on, let me share sound. Share. All right, here we go. Ready? Jingle's coming. Free account, and let's turn this around.
If you wanna talk a lot, get yourself Talkadot.
I worked on that. You know how
long
that's
cute.
No,
it's cute. It's cute, but you need something a little bit longer because to make it memorable, like a song, like what's the guy named the State Farm? You know that jingle? No, is it farmers? No, we are farmers. Bum ba-dum bum 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 bum. It's long enough that you can.
That's what that was, man. That was the same thing. That's a jingle.
It was too short.
We are farmers. How long is that?
No, but it's we are farmers. Bum ba-dum bum 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 bum. Look at the count. It's musical, Arel.
I'm pretty sure like you're trying to have me capture lightning in a bottle. That's a really great jingle. I came up with that jingle. Do you know how hard it was for me to come up with that jingle? If you want to come up, let's have a jingle contest. Whoever wants to come up with a jingle.
I'm gonna come up with a jingle.
Please do, because like that's what I came up with. If you want to talk a lot, get yourself Talkadot. I don't know. All right. I'm gonna
It was good. It was fun.
All right, I appreciate y'all. Okay, all right, y'all. As always, if you enjoyed your time here today, thank you for being here. My name's Arel Moodie. If you did not enjoy your time, my name is Jamar Johnson. I'll see y'all later.
Because I'm the only